So can the US government actually take someone's US citizenship, and are there certain classes of US citizens who are more protected in case the government tries to take their citizenship? Many of you reached out, asked me questions similar to these about the constitutionality of the government being able to take an American's citizenship away. So in this video, I'm going to go over sort of the legality and the constitutional arguments in which US citizens have more to be worried about than others. Now, please keep in mind that this is a follow-up video. I recorded a previous video on the introduced bill in the Senate about ending US dual citizenship for US citizens. So if you're wondering about my more general take or the legalities of that and more generally, please watch the other video. This video will specifically focus on the constitutional protections and legal protections on an American's, on a US citizen's US citizenship. First and foremost, welcome back to the channel. My name is Adrian Pandev. I'm an attorney who helps foreign nationals navigate the US legal system. Prior to founding my law firm, I used to work at the US DOJ, where I defended the government in naturalization and citizenship related cases in federal court. Since founding my law firm, I've helped countless individuals battle the government and defend their US citizenship and help them become US citizens. So I believe I'm able to comment on this topic in detail. I want to say I really appreciated all of your support with this channel. I'll do my best to continue to record videos like this one in which I try to explain these processes. If you want to be updated on everything I record, please subscribe to the channel and like it. That helps me tremendously. So let's jump right into the topic of today's video, which is, can the US government force a dual citizen to give up their US citizenship? Or essentially, can the US government take a dual citizen's US citizenship? Now, what you need to understand is that case law surrounding citizenship has essentially created two classes of US citizens who receive different protections of their citizenship. So you have class 1 of US citizens, which are individuals protected by this Afroyim V Rusk case from 1967. In that case, the Supreme Court held that those US citizens who are born inside the US or naturalized to become US citizens, so moved to the US, whether as permanent resident or on a visa, and then later applied and became naturalized US citizens, these two types of US citizens, so again, those that were born here and those that naturalized to become US citizens, have a 14th Amendment constitutional right to US citizenship. And what that means is that unless they voluntarily give it up, they cannot lose it. So an act of Congress, a bill of Congress, cannot strip this class of US citizens of their constitutional right to US citizenship. However, US citizens born outside the United States are not covered by the protections of this Afroyim V Rusk Supreme Court case. So essentially, if someone was born outside the US to one American parent or two American parents and became a US citizen by birth, then the Afroyim V Rusk holding does not protect them. And the reason for that is that the Constitution specifically states that those who are born in the United States or naturalized are US citizens, but it doesn't cover those who are born outside the US. So to remedy this, Congress passed the Immigration and Nationality Act, which specifies that if someone's born outside the US to US citizen parents, and as long as those parents meet certain residency requirements, they still become US citizens. But what the Supreme Court held in a follow-up case to Afroyim V Rusk in the Rogers v. Bellei case in 1971 is that the Congress can impose conditions on those who were granted US citizenship through an act of Congress. Now, for anyone born outside the US who became a US citizen by birth, that act of Congress is the Immigration and Nationality Act that allowed them to become US citizens. So for this class of US citizens, Congress can in fact impose conditions. So tying this all back to, who has the most protections and who could be stripped of their US citizenship by the government, This second class of US citizens, right, individuals born US citizens outside the country, have a lot more to fear because their citizenship is tied to an act of Congress and is not a constitutional right. Now, if you're listening to this and you were born outside the US to US parents and you're a natural born US citizen just outside the country, I don't want you to panic because before this could ever happen, a law would have to pass. It would most definitely be challenged in court, and the Supreme Court would have to uphold it. So we're quite a ways away from anyone targeting US citizens born outside the country. But I just want to explain it because I've received so many questions about this from so many people that essentially the constitutional protections that were clarified in Afroyim V. Rusk apply to those born in the US and those who naturalized to become US citizens. Those born outside the US do not enjoy the same constitutional right to US citizenship. So taking this all back and commenting on the bill introduced by Senator Moreno and my thoughts on it, in addition to what I said in my previous video, essentially, do I think this bill as it's drafted will become law and anyone needs to worry about it too much? No, I don't think so. But my concern is, and I think the scary part about all of this is that Congress could introduce bills that restrict the rights of those US citizens who are born outside the US. And whether that will apply retroactively or only for future citizens born outside the country, we will see. But the bottom line is that this creates a very, very, very slippery slope. And that's what I think is concerning here. Not so much whether or not this particular bill introduced by Senator Moreno will in fact pass in Congress. If you have any questions similar to this or comments, post them in the comments section. And like I said, I'll try to continue to record these videos and provide clarification as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.